You are working on your graveyard shift and have to make a drive through the south side of San Antonio, Texas. You decide to take a break on the next exit and find a good parking spot. Once you have found it, you realize that you are near a small graveyard. As you are looking through your stuff, your vehicle begins to act weird. You notice that your lights are flickering and immediately shut them off. To make matters worse, your vehicle immediately dies, and to add more creep factors, your windows begin to roll down on their own. You look around, trying to figure out what is going on, and you suddenly hear voices. The only problem is that you see no one creating these voices. You look back at the small graveyard, and you nearly have a heart attack. Standing to a sign that says no witchcraft, a mysterious but haunting figure appears floating above the ground. The figure is translucent, but you can clearly see the figure's face. It's a woman with long black hair, black eyes, and is wearing what appears to be a white gown that seems to be made in the 19th century. You can tell that she does not appear to be happy and is slowly floating towards your location. You immediately try everything to get your vehicle to start, but to no prevail. The ghostly woman finally reaches your location, and she is just a few feet from your face. You now have a better look of her. She seems to be 7 feet tall and appears to be an Asian woman. She slowly looks directly into your eyes and examines you, almost as if she is judging what she will do to you. All you can do is hope and pray that this ghostly woman will let you live and leave you be. In a soft but stern voice, the woman tells you to leave her resting place, or you will suffer the consequences for disturbing this area. After hearing that, your vehicle comes back to life, and the ghostly woman disappears right in front of you. Immediately, you close your windows and drive out there as fast as you can. This account is just one of the many eyewitness testimonies I have heard when exploring the forgotten history of the Chinese graveyard in San Antonio, Texas. On this episode, I will cover the mysterious history behind the Chinese graveyard that many have claimed to be haunted. I am your host, Streetlight Historian, and this is the Hidden Histories of San Antonio, Texas. Located on the south side of San Antonio, Texas, on South Zarzamora Street and Loop 410, Lona China Cemetery is a small private family cemetery that is considered haunted by many of the locals. Located near Texas A&M University at San Antonio, Texas, this small cemetery has attracted unusual people from around the city of San Antonio, Texas. Ghost City Tours does an excellent job of exploring the mystery behind this small cemetery, which I will leave a link below the video if you are interested in reading their findings on this mysterious grave. The Chinese graveyard, also known as the Luma China Cemetery and the Guzman Burial Ground, is a small graveyard owned by a family named the Guzman. In the year 2009, one of the family members named Joey Guzman talked with San Antonio News Channel's Can's 5 News about the history and legend of the haunted Chinese graveyard on one of their specials titled Horror Haunted in San Antonio Unearthed Ghostly Tales. As the legend goes, told by Joey Guzman, the graveyard began over 100 years ago, and as for the meaning behind the Chinese graveyard's name, Guzman stated, supposedly a great uncle of his was seeing a Chinese woman and they were in love, and according to Guzman, when the family found out about the relationship, his great-grandfather forbidden him from seeing his true love. Guzman, the caretaker of the property, said that the cemetery was where his great-uncle and his love would meet in secret. Apparently, one night his great-uncle was riding his horse to meet his secret love when he and the horse were killed by lightning. Afterward, he was buried in the family graveyard. It was said that the woman, broken-hearted, later went to his graveyard and committed suicide. The family so guilt-ridden that they drove the pair to act in secrecy, ultimately dooming them to death, that they decided to bury the woman alongside her love. Since that day, Guzman said there is a curse on the graveyard and that those who continue to see the ghost of the woman will be struck by lightning just as the love of her life was. In The Cemetery Travelers, written by Ed Snyder, did his own investigation on this legend in Haunted Texas Graveyard, which I will put a link at the bottom of the video. From Ed Snyder's investigations, the ghost of the woman is said to sometimes appear as a white mist, while others have claimed to see a full-formed, towering 7-foot-tall apparition of an Asian woman. Red Rushing, folklorist and former employee of the Institute of Texas Cultures, said of the hauntings that you're supposed to drive to the cemetery, park at the gate, facing the big white cross, roll down your windows so that you are exposed to the air, turn your lights off, turn your car off, wait, and then flicker your lights 5 times. It is then that the 7-foot-tall female spirit will appear. Most people tear out of pretty quickly thereafter, added Red Rushing. But if you stay, the ghostly woman may walk over to your car, and once there, reach through your roll-down window to physically grab your arm. An unnamed source claims to have gone to the graveyard to put the urban legend to the test. A while back, the source and a few friends had parked just in front of the cemetery, and as expected of them, flashed their lights 5 times. Then it happened. A tall ghostly image appeared, turned towards them, and began to glare. After that, they didn't even bother waiting to see if the ghost would move in their direction and grab them. They had enough of their fill of excitement and decided to get out there as soon as possible. One of the more recent ghostly accounts happened in June of 2015. It was past midnight when a young couple drove up to the gate of the graveyard. They sat in the car for a moment before readying themselves to flash the car lights. After the 5th flash, they suddenly saw the much talked about white mist emanating from thin air. The young couple froze, stunned by what they were witnessing. Everything grew eerily quiet as the mist began to form into a large apparition. The tall spirit began to move towards the couple's vehicle, but then stopped. Within seconds of halting, the spirit vanished almost as quickly as it first appeared. The couple, still shocked by the sight, remained there for over half an hour before finally leaving. Some visitors have reportedly experienced cold spots while at the cemetery during a hot summer night. Also, light orbs have appeared on several occasions, and the most creepiest of them all is the constant sense that you're being followed. Because of its history, the Chinese graveyard has attracted unwanted attention, particularly with witches and occultists. It has gone so bad that the Guzman family have put up a sign that says, "No witchcraft allowed." Some historians and folklorists have pointed out that the mysterious Asian ghost lady seems very familiar to the famous Japanese urban legend of Hashikaku-sama, a 7 to 8 feet tall woman that is a yoki, meaning ghost in Japanese. But other than that, it is very possible that this graveyard could indeed be haunted due to the variety of eyewitness accounts that it can be traced back to the earliest 20th century. In the end, the Chinese graveyard should be left in peace and should be treated with respect due to the tragic history behind it, as well as to help the Guzman family, who are doing their best to preserve their family history.